Okay, my dears, we are back with another video, and today we're talking about the couple big names, some big names in book distribution. Now, this matters to you if you want your book in hard copy. If you do not, if you are focusing on ebook only, this is slightly irrelevant or maybe just some interesting information and you can stick around. But the purpose of today's video is to discuss the pros and cons, the differences between three of the biggest names you're going to hear in the print on demand world, meaning the companies that you will print your hard copy books for sale with. They will be helping you sell them. And those three companies are KDP Print through Amazon, Ingram Spark, and BookBaby. Now, there are many other POD options. There are many other distributing options, but I want to go over these big ones because these are the ones you're going to hear over and over again. And if you are writing one book only and this is your baby and this is not a business venture for you, these three are going to provide you with a very solid base to investigate your options with. If your research continues to bring you a name that might be not on this list and sound like a good fit, please follow that rabbit hole. Do your further investigation. But my main goal is to bring you just some overview information on why you would maybe use something like Ingram Spark or why you would use KDP or what BookBaby offers that these two don't. So let's jump into it. To get it out of the way, I want to go through KDP first. Again, KDP stands for Kindle Direct Publishing. It is through Amazon. So this is Amazon's printing operations. And as far as user-friendly goes, it's easy. There's little to no learning curve. They have tons of guides and resources for you to use when you are operating in the back end of their system. Because it's owned by Amazon, it's great for authors who have a physical book and they want their ebook as well to be sold on the same page. So you know what Amazon probably looks like when you go to buy a book. You can select which option you want. Some other distributors that work with your physical book don't allow this option. So that is something to consider if you are going hard copy and ebook. The downfall of using KDP is that they charge a hefty fee to distribute your book to stores other than Amazon. So they really don't offer option for hard copies, which may or may not matter to you, but do some research on what those distribution fees look like and whether or not you're willing to bite that bullet in order to utilize Amazon's wide and far reach. Ingram Spark is operated under Ingram Book Group, and it's a little complicated. You don't necessarily need to know that, but this book group, Ingram, is one of the biggest, or if not the biggest, book distributor and wholesaler. Okay, so they are a huge player. Amazon is still a giant, but this one also carries a lot of weight and offers a lot of benefits for authors who are self-publishing. So really the two most important things you want to consider when you're looking at Ingram Spark is, do you want to plan, are you planning to focus some sales outside of Amazon? Like, do you have ideas and thoughts that don't involve Amazon and don't involve their platform or their reach? If most of your efforts will be focused outside of Amazon, then you could potentially benefit more with Ingram Spark. KDP allows you to directly, they directly distribute to Amazon, and through that channel, your distribution fees will be lower. But if that channel doesn't matter to you, KDP is going to charge you a lot more. So to avoid that, Ingram might be a better fit for you if you want to look at distributing to stores that aren't Amazon stores and don't go through that channel. So Ingram has tons of connections outside of the Amazon world, and because they go through that Ingram Book Group, that bigger umbrella, they also will have that kind of, they don't have to deal with the middleman as far as Amazon's other channels that they have to go through. That's what I'm trying to say here. So it's more of a direct route into their connections. If you are trying to get into brick and mortar bookstores, again, Ingram's network is going to be the winner. They have an amazing network with regards to those physical bookstores. But on the other hand, Ingram's platform is a steeper learning curve. I personally have used both KDP and Ingram, and I can confirm that personally, that it is a more difficult system to use. It requires a bit more patience. Sometimes you have to go play around with the files and get them exactly right. They're a bit more finicky and picky, but so there is a little bit more required of you and your patience and your tech savviness. But again, they're a worldwide distribution network. It really has no competition in the POD category as far as distribution and their reach goes. But with the steeper learning curve and not having Amazon's connections, that may not be the best fit for you. So just keep that in mind. But you will need to be prepared. Just when you're using Ingram, be prepared to have your manuscript document rejected a couple times at least, because they are just so extremely picky, and it just has to be 100,000,000% perfect. Okay. I've had clients come back to me going, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? And we just put our heads together and look at this document and just try to figure out what exactly Ingram is asking us for. It can be done. It may be worth the effort to you. So just look into the pros and cons on that. Now, let's shift a little bit away from those kind of two biggest names. I think they're the biggest ones you're going to hear. The reason I bring BookBaby into the picture is because they do offer a little bit of something, not in a way of competition, but just something different that I want you to look at. BookBaby is a good option for authors who don't want a steeper learning curve. It's going to be a much easier learning curve, more towards KDP's really user-friendly system. It's a very simple interface. There's a lot of, there's some hand-holding. You don't have to do a lot of guesswork for yourself, but you also need to be okay paying a higher price for bulk orders and distribution, or if you only want to print a small number of copies, this will be a pretty good option for you. So if you want to primarily have your book available in ebook format, and then print like 20 copies for you and family, and you don't want to worry about allowing your readers to select a hard copy, maybe you just don't want to deal with the costs and it's not worth it for you, then BookBaby may be a good option for your hard copy printing needs, I should say. It's not going to be a good option for you if you want to distribute an ebook. They don't deal with ebooks. If you want to do maybe more than 25 hard copy books, the costs start to become prohibitive. They start to be a little less friendly in that category when the numbers go up. So look at costs as far as what your ultimate goals are for printing now and in the future. You don't want to do this twice. You kind of want to have some forward thinking here. Of course, things come up that you can't always anticipate, but go with your gut here. Does it feel like you're for sure never going to want to print any more than 20 or 25? BookBaby may be your option. If you think there's a possibility, consider the costs elsewhere and look at it from an elevated perspective of more than 25. If you require additional services like editing and typesetting and all of that, marketing, BookBaby's not going to be your option there. It can be expensive to distribute your book through BookBaby because you're actually accessing the distribution channel through Ingram. So you're getting charged a middleman fee. So what happens is BookBaby says, hey, we're going to print your book for you, but in order to get it in bookstores, we actually have to go hang out and partner with Ingram. We have to connect with them. So you're going to pay us a fee to connect with them. So that's what I meant by Ingram doesn't have those middleman fees. Ingram Spark works through that Ingram Book Groups. They're operated under the same umbrella. So there's no middleman fee to the distribution network. Companies like BookBaby and there's many other companies in the same boat. They don't have the distribution connections like the powerhouse Ingram Spark does. They just don't. So what they do is say like, hey, we got some books for you. If you wouldn't mind letting us, hit up your partners, hit up your connections, we'll pay you a fee. I think it's like a couple $100, but still, it's a fee. It doesn't feel wonderful to pay that. If you are considering wanting to print and distribute more than, like I said, about 20 or 25, then you may want to consider something other than BookBaby, because you really don't want to pay that middleman fee if you can avoid it, right? So think about that as far as what your printing needs are. And let me give you some questions to consider here. If you plan to focus most of your sales on Amazon, go with KDP. You don't need to overthink this, okay? You want Amazon, you're going to focus your efforts on Amazon, great. You don't need to deal with their expanded distribution options. They have different options, but if you just want to focus on Amazon, it's pretty simple, straightforward there. If you want to focus outside of Amazon and you want to still get your book in physical bookstores, Ingram Spark is going to be your best bet to kind of deal with the wholesalers and the retailers that they have connections with. And then if you want both, here's the have your cake and eat it too situation. If you want to access both Amazon and non-Amazon stores, you can do both, okay? You can do Ingram Spark and KDP. Now, this is where you're probably going like, Danielle, why didn't you just say this in the beginning? Because you want to make sure that that you do this right and for the right reasons. You have to distribute through Amazon via their KDP, opt out of their extended distribution, and then use Ingram to distribute everywhere but Amazon. Are you following me here? So it gets a little tricky, but if you're like, hey, I want my book out there, this is a great option for you, and it can work, okay? You just have to sort of know what you're walking into and why. On the other hand, maybe a concern for you is like just getting some support through this process. BookBaby has an amazing customer service team, so that may be something that you really prefer to deal with. You're probably not going to feel like you are one of a million with BookBaby like you would with like KDP or Ingram. So those are the options here. This is the, I guess, net span of who you can work with. And then, of course, there's like hundreds and thousands of other names in this mix that you can consider that are definitely worth considering. You don't have to sign up with one of these big names if you truly find another option. I'm not trying to promote them, but I know you will be considering them because you can't avoid them. They're so big, they're like mountains. So I wanted you to have an idea of what they look like, what they offer, and then you get to choose. You get to do your homework and your due diligence and do the math and figure out what's the best fit for you. So come back. We're going to continue the discussion on getting your book printed, getting your cover designed, and all of that. So lots more to cover this month. And so I will see you in the next video, right?